arbitrator, but I'm sure that the league can. It's the NFL. They feel like they can do whatever they want whenever they want. So
Well, and I mean, as often as whenever these decisions come up, the league's disciplinary decisions have been disappointing over the last several years. I mean, and for more grievous outcomes than this one, right? I mean,
correct.
Obviously, if he's driving on a DWI and hits and kills somebody, that's a grievous outcome. He's got this firearm in the car for which he did not have a permit on his person. Just having it there, nobody got hurt, but if it somehow had gone off and discharged and hurt somebody, that's a grievous outcome. But you look at all the players that the Chiefs have acquired or had to have go through this scenario over the last couple of seasons, and the league just softballs it. I mean, having the ability to make a decision and do some supplementary discipline, and actually executing on that seem to be two different things for the NFL.
Well, it also seems to be like a player like Javon Curse might get his hand slapped more than a player like Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or right. Like,
for sure.
If they're going to make an example, they're going to make an example of Javon Curse.
Right.
On a side note, didn't he get drafted late because of off the field issues? Or is that not him?
Could be. I just don't remember.
He was a 7th round pick, I believe. I could be mistaking him for somebody else. I can't keep him straight.
Yeah,
well, we tend to like those players. So,
and of course, J-Ron. I'll see, he's a Clemson guy. I'll see if I can find anything. But all right, well, whatever. I mean, look, they're clearly playing better. They're playing well on both sides of the ball. That's great. And I don't mean to, this shouldn't necessarily be the focus, but it does stand out. I mean, last season, was pretty bereft of these types of things for this team. And so, whatever. It's the news given that they played 3 days or 4 days ago. So, all right. So, he's related to Javon Curse, the Titans dude, and Philip Buchanan. I didn't know that. Our guy, J-Ron. Anyway, okay. Speaking of ill behavior, what do you guys think about the World Series so far?
I haven't seen one pitch, and I'm a baseball guy, so I'm too busy rowing the boat and watching mite hockey.
I'm with Tony. I have seen maybe an inning of all of it. I just don't have any interest.
It's incredible to me, though, that, and I'm not. I really don't mean to make this into a positive thing or a thing of wonderment or whatever. But it's incredible to me that the Astros can perpetrate what in this context such a potential distraction. I mean, they created it. They create this distraction in the middle of the World Series, and then turn around and win 2 games to get back in the series.
Yeah, you almost wonder if it's I'm not saying it's a made up story at all, but if the Astros internally are using it as an us versus the world type of mindset to motivate, which makes it even worse.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it just makes it that much more of them being, we don't want the expletive tagged onto our podcast, but it's terrible. Like, yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the specific incident was just so pathetically immature and disgusting and inappropriate. But then to blow it to make it worse the way they did, is just pathetic. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting, and it's too bad. I mean, I can't imagine Manfred's very happy to have that happen during the middle of the World Series. And given the fact that they have come back to tie it, the Senators, the Nationals probably aren't too happy about it either. But whatever. It's just awful. Bad taste in your mouth. All right, so I want to save the positive for the end. But so that means let's talk about the Wild for a minute. Look, 3 straight games at home. 3 straight victories at home, not all against bad teams, right? I mean, Edmonton's better than the Kings for sure, but it's just not a good team. I mean, I on the Nashville game the other night. I mean, and it's not just this season's iteration of the team though. It's play hard in the first period, get chances, get stoned by a hot goalie, and then one thing goes against you, and all of a sudden you're the train's off the tracks. We've seen that for so many years with this team. So it's not even just that this season somehow is cursed. It's they still haven't, and we know this, but they still haven't fixed the problems that they've had for years and years and years and years. And the only potential difference this time is whether or not we finally get it through the owner's thick head that this is not a good team, right? And I had hoped that that's the case. And when he was in Canada with the team, sitting with Billy for 2 of those 2 games, that's the only thing that I want to hear as a result of that is and I don't know that we would ever hear that, but I would love to hear him or Guerin say, yeah, you know what, as long as we're not trying to patch together this shutout streak anymore anyway, yeah, this team needs some help. I'd love to hear that him acknowledge that, because I think that's the most important a roadblock at this point to potentially addressing that clear problem. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, first, I've really struggled to get interested in the Wild.
Oh my God, yeah.
Here. Maybe it's part of the Gophers, but I mean, I have watched the games. It's just not that entertaining.
Right.
I mean, they're not that good. And honestly, my biggest fear, is just that they're gonna be just good enough to get a draft pick outside the top 10. And
right.
It's just so frustrating. But yeah, I mean, like you said, until Leopold sees it and gets it through his head that this isn't a good team and stops being just a fan. I mean, I completely understand he's the owner and he's going to lose money. But realistically, maybe he'll lose money for a couple of years, but he'll make a lot more when this team is good and going deep into the playoffs year after year.
Right.
I mean, they have to think long term. I've heard some rumors. I haven't heard Russo confirm it or not that a couple of the younger players are on the trade block. So I'm sure
Donato one of them.
Yeah, Fiala, Donato, and there was a third one that I heard.
I think Eck.
Eck, yeah.
Which again, I don't think we talked about this, but not sending Donato down to me was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I get that they're short people, but he's still on the 4th line. Then call up a 4th liner.
Right.
Like he could be stalled now, just like Mike Riley was.
Right.
Let him go down there, be on the top line, getting top minutes, power play time, and get his confidence back. Now they'll never send him down because you'll lose him.
Right.
And we made this mistake twice already, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Is it something where, and I guess me following and just not knowing as much about hockey and how it works, is like they made it sound like they couldn't send him down because guys got hurt. Like that's got nothing to do with it, right? They could send him down if they wanted to and just call up. I mean, fourth line player from Iowa.
Yeah,
right?
They could, because what can happen is you can't bring up an extra body because you have too many people, but you should certainly be able to send one down and just swap him out, because that's not adding anybody to the roster when you're just doing a 1-for-1.
Yeah,
I believe.
Right, and obviously the other issue was, Riley and Kemper and Holla. Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, it's and I guess that's the type of thing that concerns me in the context of, have they figured it out yet? Because not sending him down is an indication that there's, if you're saying
They're trying to win.
Yeah, we still got to do everything we can to win the season. Then you don't send him down because you justify it by saying, well, there's a couple injuries or whatever, right? And he's arguably better than whoever we'd bring up, but you're not playing the long game and still trying to win. While admirable, at some point is just pathetic, right? I mean, if I asked Russo and Krasinski on their last Athletic Hour show, which team would have more wins this season in their mind, the Wild or the Wolves, and they said the Wolves, right? I mean, so like let's just that's the thing. So that's what's frustrating me is that in that scenario is it speaks to that attitude,
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And my biggest frustration is this team always seems to think about the short term. They just never think about the long term. It's always we got to win now. It's not what's best for now and in the future. It's just, and until they, figure it out, it's just going to continue the way it is. But it is nice to see that fans have, to some degree, had enough. And they're showing it by not showing up at the X. And hopefully that sends a message. Although the Wild are finally starting to win at home. So,
yeah. Do you think Leopold must have made some deal with the devil with Preezy and Suter when he signed them? Like, look, we're gonna commit to winning every year that you guys are under contract, or something stupid like that. That, I mean, and at some point you got to look out for your organization over the two players, but. It just seems to be some sort of Leopold's got this aversion to being the Blackhawks or the Penguins or
the
whatever.
Avs.
Yeah, the Avs, right? And that's what those teams had to go through. And I'd gladly go through 2 or 3 years of losing to have a cup contender.
Yeah,
and it seems the perfect timing, right? Like you got Kaprizov coming. Kaprizov will be here next year, and he's going to be a high-end talent. And if you can figure out a way to weasel into the top 5 and get another high-end talent that you can maybe bring in with him, now you got 2, infusions of talent, young talent, under control in your organization. It just seems like perfect timing for it to me.
Well, and I'll take that a step farther, Tony. If I'm Kaprizov right now, I mean, and they don't do something like that. Like if the team as it is right now, right, gets to the end of the season and the indications are that this is the team for the most part, maybe a couple of changes around the margins going into next season, that makes me as Kaprizov less likely to want to come over.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends how bad he wants to play in the NHL, I think. I mean, because we're his gate to the NHL, no other way around it,
For sure, unless we trade him. But yeah, no. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna want to say I need somebody to pass me the puck, right? I need skaters who can keep up with me and help me when I'm skating around the up tempo guys, defenders in the rest of the league. I can't be the only guy up. I'm gonna need. I can't be if I'm the only guy with any talent or any finishing ability on this team. Then why don't I just stay here and not have Putin threaten my family or whatever? You know what I mean? Like I think they have to show him a commitment to getting better. Starting next year than they are right now. That's how I think about it.
The other thing I think too is they're set up well, I think, for a second and a third line center. Like Ek and Cunnin, I think, would be above average second and third line centers, right? And if you can just find a way to get yourself Kaprizov and that first line center, however that ends up being, maybe you turn a second liner somewhere else into the number 1 guy here that you think, or you draft some stud young kid. Yeah. But they're set up to be pretty good for a long term if they can find that number 1 center. I would think. Maybe I'm dead wrong. I don't know, but I mean, I would think Ek and Cunnin seem to be decent second and third line centers.
And Mike, where are you on re-signing Koivu after this season?
I don't know. I mean, you think about it. You take him and Stahl out, and you have Ek. Maybe Cunnin as centers. There's nobody in the minors that's a good center, I don't think, or a top 6 center coming. I mean, we were all excited for Connor Dewar,
Right.
Oh, he's playing on the fourth line in Iowa right now.